Today I'm going to show you how you can enjoy the benefits of a side draft forge hood, but still keep the classic look of the Buffalo forge setup. This is a forge that I set up in a local museum, and the only requirement that I had was to design the forge around this hood scoop. As much as I like the look of this forge hood, they are practically useless. They don't draw very well, and you normally get more smoke billowing around the outside edges of the hood than actually go up the chimney. So this project was really an experiment to see how far away I could move the opening of a side draft forge hood away from the fire and still have it work efficiently and draw well. So this box that you see attached to the top of the forge hood is actually the side draft forge opening, and it normally sits right next to the fire pot. But on this forge, it's sitting about 30 inches away from the fire. And because of this distance, I made sure that the front lip of this forge hood was sitting directly over top of the center of the fire. I also modified the top of the forge hood to include this funnel to make sure that any little bit of heat generated by the fire was going to get directed right into the chimney. To get a chimney to draw well, you have to make sure that the opening is between 85 to 90% of the area of the chimney. So in this example, the white square that you see marked as 100% is the size of the whole chimney, which is 10 inches by 10 inches. The line marked 85% is where I positioned the back wall of the lower box attached to the hood in order to make that opening 85% of the volume of the chimney. So in this case, it's 8.5 by 10 inches. The line marked 75% is where I had originally put the back wall of this lower box, and it did draw fairly well once the air was really superheated by the forge, but at startup it was very inefficient and it really didn't draw at all. So that's why I'm revisiting this project. I'm not sure where I got the number of 75%, but when I reinstalled my forge in my own shop, I started playing around with these opening sizes, and I realized that it needed to be over by 85% to make it work. So the 75% was obviously just plain wrong. I wanted this hood to be really easy to maintain, so I set everything up on these flanges. The look of the forge does suffer a little bit, but I have a really efficient forge hood now, and it's easy to maintain, and it still reads like an old-time forge, so I'm happy with the results. Here you can see the problem that I was trying to correct with this forge. I've just started the fire and the chimney is still cold. In my right hand I have a plate that is closing the proper opening back up to 75%, and you can see how that proportion is just wrong, and there's absolutely no incentive for that smoke to go up the chimney. Any little breeze from the open door right next to the forge is just carrying the smoke anywhere, and it really doesn't take very long for the whole building to be filled with smoke. Once I remove this plate, the smoke immediately starts going up the chimney, and as the forge heats up, the efficiency just keeps getting better and better. So as you can see, as long as the area of the hood opening is about 85 to 90% of the area of the chimney, you really have a lot of leeway as to how you set this up. The gap that you see between the bottom of the forge hood and the actual forge basin is because the forge hood is mounted on the building, which doesn't move, and the forge is just resting on the ground. During the winter, the ground freezes solid here, and it actually heaves up about 4 inches. If you look at the bottom corner of the forge hood, you can see the damage from the forge being pushed up against the forge hood.